Well, all of us have experienced some kind of rejection in our life, but very few of us, in fact, none of us have experienced the kind of rejection that our next guest has. Watch Melissa's story.
32 years ago, my biological mother, a 19-year-old college student, got pregnant out of wedlock. I'm not sure that I will ever truly know what she thought or how she felt about her pregnancy. I'm not sure that I will ever know how other people or the culture of the time impacted these thoughts and feelings, and her subsequent decision regarding her pregnancy. What I do know, however, is that in the late summer of 1977, her life, my life, the lives of my biological father and their families were forever changed. When my biological mother was around 6 months pregnant, she underwent a saline infusion abortion. Throughout the course of a 5-day period, I endured the deliverance of the saline solution into the fluid around me. I breathed it in through my nose and mouth, while numerous rounds of Pitocin were delivered to my mother to induce labor and ultimately dispel my dead body from her womb. When I was delivered in bed by a nurse that 5th day, I was believed to be dead. Weighing a little over 2 pounds, suffering from jaundice and severe respiratory distress, my future appeared to be bleak, but I was alive. Doctors believed I would likely grow up to be disabled, if I even lived at all. My biological parents put me up for adoption soon after my birth. My adoptive parents wanted me, took a chance on me. They loved me unconditionally, despite what the future might hold. I was always proud to know that I was adopted. Words cannot express how much I really love and respect my adoptive parents. During my teenage years, I learned that I was not born, but in fact had survived a lethal attempt on my life. Since then, my life was never the same. I had a lot of support from my family and community, but on the inside, I was hurting. I struggled with strong feelings of guilt for being physically, mentally, and emotionally alive and well. I spent well over 10 years of my life attempting to obtain my medical records, so I would know the truth about the abortion attempt and my survival. I could not come forward until I had made some type of contact with my biological parents to let them know that I was alive and well, and that I forgave them for the decision that was made to end my life. Just when I thought that I couldn't go on any further, God always opened another door and instilled me with hope and the energy to continue on. It has only been in the last 2 years that I have come forward publicly to share my story with the world. Part of that was due to my own personal struggles and feelings, being ashamed and embarrassed. I believe that my life was saved for a reason, and I am proud today to say that I am a survivor. I am proud to say that I am fulfilling the purpose that God set out for me. And I am proud to say that I am a good daughter, sister, wife, and most of all, mother. You see, my daughter Olivia was born on April 26, 2008, at the very same hospital where my life was meant to end. That very building that once brought such pain and suffering has now been transformed to a building that holds the happiest memory of my life. Olivia has been the last and most important piece of my healing process. The most precious gift is to be her mother. The cycle of pain and suffering ends with me.
Oh bébé, tu dors. Tu es dans tes songes. À quoi tu songes là? Dors et tu dors et tu dors.
And Melissa joins us now. Melissa Ohden, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, that is quite a story. And how did you find out all this? When did you find out all this, that all this had taken place?
You know, as it shares in the digital story, I had seemingly always known that I had been adopted. That was just a very normal part of our family. I have an older sister who a picture was shown of. She's also adopted from another family. But, you know, we grew up with that normalcy in our family, and really my life was forever changed as a teenager. And I think it's so interesting that I'm here today following Yellow Roses when we talk about how difficult the teenage years are for young women. Not only did I face those difficult years, but that's when I found out the truth about my life.
And what happened when you found out the truth? I mean, that is not something that anybody else I've ever known has had to hear. And what was your reaction? What happened?
I was devastated, absolutely devastated. You know, after all these years, I think the easiest way I've been able to really describe it in words is to tell people it's kind of like when you're a little kid and you fall off the swing and you get the wind knocked out of you and you think that you have a broken bone somewhere and you just can't figure out where in your body it is because it hurts so bad. That's what that moment was really like for me.
Yeah. And at school, because you kind of talked about it at first, didn't you, at school and with friends, and what was their reaction? How did people deal with it?
You know, I was very vocal because I had a wonderfully supportive Christian family. I was getting confirmed that year, and so my confirmation class was very, very supportive. I had teachers who allowed me to talk about who I was and the reality of my life. And so that was fantastic. That really helped to get me by some difficult years. But truly, when I went away to college, things got very, very difficult for me. Yeah. You know, I lived on a campus where it wasn't explicitly said to me, but very implicitly, I was made aware that I should be pro-choice. And, you know, I had all sorts of people around me who were either having abortions or having miscarriages. And it was really too much for me to handle.
And just going back to your confirmation for a second, you had a particular verse, didn't you? You'll like this, Norma. Could you share that verse with us that was your confirmation verse?
Jeremiah 1:5. Of course, right?
Go ahead, say it.
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And I know that that was meant to be. You know, not only was my sister supposed to become pregnant that year with my nephew, who will be 18 this summer, and that's how I found out, because she was considering having an abortion. And so our parents told her about my survival in the hopes that she would choose life for her son.
Wow.
But I know the Lord laid all of that out for me to have the support of my church and my family that year. Because there's no other way my parents could have come out and told me something so very painful.
Yeah. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. That is it's a powerful verse for anybody, but none more so than you, for certainly. And you know, Norma, I think there's probably people out there right now that I just want to stop for just a second, because I feel like that really was an impactful thing for that verse to be shared. And if you find yourself as one who is struggling with being accepted and being, that your life has meaning, know that God knew you before He formed you in the womb and has a plan for your life and loves you. And so as you're going through this, how did you deal with feelings towards your biological mother and parents?
And I can be really honest and say I was so angry at them when I first found out. I was incredibly angry to know that they felt like they had to go to that extent, that they had to abort me and they couldn't place me for adoption. That was incredibly painful. But as much as I was angry, it passed so quickly, and I can't even pinpoint the exact time all of that anger washed away, but I can say it was really early on, and it was such a wash of forgiveness that I felt towards them. Because when we know what Jesus did for us, it is nothing for me to forgive my biological parents.
Yeah, so you're in college, okay, and you've got all these new things coming towards you, new people, new attitudes, new friends, and at that point, did you just kind of not talk about it anymore? You kind of just try to fit in? Were you struggling at all in your walk with the Lord? You know, all the things that a lot of people go through?
Absolutely. And you know, I can look back on those years and sometimes I feel really bad about them and say, oh Lord, I wish I would have done a better job of following your lead. But I know that that was also the path that He needed me to walk on. so I could learn from it, and so I could minister to other people who go through a similar experience. You know, even though I knew in my heart how much the Lord loved me and that He had called it upon my heart all those years ago that I would be here someday speaking with you, I desperately